Hey everyone. So recently I did a poll of what rapper you want me to do next for Is the Blank Rapper Good. I ended up putting Drake in there because, why not? You voted for Drake. A lot of you did, actually, which I should have saw coming, but I didn't. So you made me listen to Drake all night. Thank you so much. But yeah, I listened to his Darkling Desmos mixtape. I did not like it. But that's for another day. I didn't listen to any of his albums because I'm not going to waste my time listening to a Drake album. Especially since his Black Scorpion album, which is his most recent album, is 90 minutes long. And about 40 tracks. Not 40, but like 20. Which is still a lot. Yeah. So I decided not to. I didn't listen to his other mixtapes because I didn't feel like doing so. I didn't want to listen to his If You're Reading This It's Too Late mixtape because of the fact that I felt like that with it, I just felt like I shouldn't because it's 6 years old now. And Drake has his own new stuff that he's been doing. So it just wouldn't feel necessary. But yeah, I listened to a couple of his other singles, like some of his features with DJ Khaled, a couple of those. I listened to some of his singles like In My Feelings or God's Plan, which later became onto the albums, and I listened to that mixtape I just mentioned. So let's get into this. Is Drake a good rapper or not? You probably know my answer, but let's do it anyways. This is the part I'm guessing you think I'm going to critically praise Drake or something. Yeah, it's not anything that special, to be honest. Maybe I just need to listen to other rappers with bigger beat selections, but from what I've seen, Drake doesn't have that brilliant of a beat selection. I like the beat on God's Plan. I think that's a very unique beat that he added on there. I like the one in Deep Pockets. It's very atmospheric, even if Drake fails to really convey anything on that one. But yeah, he has some good beats. I like the one on Demons. These are very few ones where he really gives a pretty solid one. These aren't like great times when the beats are really great. These are just like decent ones. But some of them really just fail to really interest me at all. Some of them are just really mediocre, like with Tusi Slide, Desires, Time Flies. I guess the one for Landsman is good, but the thing is, from what I've seen from Drake, his beats are either decent or just for plain out forgettable. So I'll give him an overall score of a 6.5 out of 10. There isn't really much to say here. They're either good, kinda, or they're just very bland. So that's really all I have to say. To be honest, his flow is probably the weakest part of his entire career as being a rapper. He has a really bad flow in Deep Pockets where he really does, there's these big cuts that really are just obnoxious in it. I do enjoy his flow in Chicago, but I guess the main thing of why it's here is because of how terribly flowed and his hooks are. They are not catchy at all. They are disgusting. Tushy Slide is one of them I really don't like. Time Flies, In My Feeling, Pop Star, The Hook, DFL is awful. Landed. But I do like his flow on Landed, I guess. Pain 1993 has an okay flow, but for the most part, really not that great. I would say my overall score would be 3 out of 10. He just doesn't have that great of hooks that aren't flowing very well, and I think that's why I'd give him this. And the thing is, even those flows that aren't that bad are just mediocre. Drake isn't that great at flows. Some of them are interesting, but mostly not. To be honest, this is probably the second best part of his music. While he doesn't have a great voice, he has a nasally voice that's pretty iconic and easy to differentiate from other rappers, and it doesn't get to the point where it's just dragged out and annoying. His voice really works. on When to Say, not brilliantly, but it sounds decent. On the song No to You, No You Too, he sounds pretty bored and really uninterested. I realized after listening to his Desmo's Taste, I barely noted anything about his voice because it's just okay. I didn't say it was brilliant or anything. It just kind of switches him and differentiates him from other rappers. So yeah, there's not much to say. 5 out of 10. It doesn't really stand out. There wasn't much to note about him when I was listening to his music. So that's all I have to say, really. Oh boy, here we go. Now I gotta quote some lyrical genius here before we move on. How are you vegan, but still beefing with me? I could be your man, maybe down the road. Right now, I would rather see my heart turn to chrome. And I bought my dog a rollie, 'cause he rolled with it. And I bought that girl a shovel, 'cause she gold to the game. Lost you to the game, gotta hug that. That wasn't from a full song. Those were just elements I found really funny. But yeah, in all seriousness though, Drake isn't the worst lyricist out there, to be honest. There's way worse. There's like 10 times worse than anything he has ever done. I can say that much. Ghostwriter or no ghostwriter, I know there have been accusations of that, and he might still have one. I don't have much of an idea of that, if that is true or not. But regardless of that, whoever writes the stuff, they're not doing that well of a job, in my opinion, because this stuff, it's pretty generic. He doesn't really talk about anything very interesting. He just kind of talks about generic rap topics from everything I've listened to from him. There's just not much to really note here. It's just, his lyrics are just bad. They're just bad, okay? Sometimes laughably bad, but very generic and not bland. I'll give him a 3.5 out of 10 for his lyrics. They're not that great. I will say, though, in one of his songs, When to Say, or whatever it is, that song, I think, there were some good lyrics there. I don't know, whatever. But my point being, 3.5 out of 10, there isn't much here to note that I would give positively. Now, as much as I have been slandering Drake this entire video, I don't hate his music, really, from what I've seen, as on an enjoyment level, at least. Honestly, I think it's some of the songs in here I wouldn't really mind listening to and I find enjoyable, and some maybe I'll add on my playlist. But for the most part, I won't really listen to his music as much because there isn't much unique with what I've listened to really separate him from the crowd, I guess. So I didn't have as fun of a time. I wouldn't listen to a 90-minute album of his, which there's a reason why I haven't listened to Black Scorpion. And yeah, there isn't much of him as an artist that seems to be very interesting. So I guess we'll just give him a 5 out of 10 on the enjoyment scale. That adds as an overall score of 23 out of 50. So, yeah, that's going to be for the video, guys. What do you think of Drake? Do you agree with anything I said? I know some of you probably don't. Maybe some of you do. But yeah, that's what I have to say. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.